Hi, welcome to Steve Chats Wrestling, hashtag SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe to the channel right now. Leave any comments in the comments below and also like and share the video if you happen to enjoy this particular video. WWE Clash of Champions, giving a quick review on the show. For me, it kind of stands out as what Raw really is at the moment. There's some good in-ring action, but I don't think there's enough investment story-wise to keep a viewer entertained and hooked. And personally as well, I think that 3 hours is still too long, believe it or not. I believe the fans were kind of a little bit drawn out and kind of tired by the time we got to past the Roman Reigns-Rusev match. Didn't really give as much energy in the main event as perhaps you would have liked. I think perhaps they should go down the SmackDown Live route of perhaps maybe 5 no more than 6 matches for a pay-per-view event and maybe going along the 2.5 hour route. I think that this would be better at the moment for particularly Raw branded pay-per-views and SmackDown pay-per-views, and perhaps on dual pay-per-views, that's when they can do the longer shows. But quickly going through the results, Nia Jax squashing Alicia Fox on the pre-show, although she was actually knocked to the mat a couple of times, even putting a pinfall attempt, but it's clear to see Nia Jax is heading towards the top of the women's division and clearly in dominant fashion beating Alicia Fox once again. The New Day retaining the tag team championships over Anderson and Gallows. Anderson and Gallows were booked kind of well at the start of the match, looking really strong, taking out members of the New Day very quickly. Of course, the New Day recovered and got a victory after. It was Anderson left isolated on the ring rope and Xavier was hitting the trombone, or Francesco 2.0. leaving Kofi and Big E to pick up the scraps, which means it seems that the New Day are going to be continuing their long, lengthy run as tag team champions and probably catching up to Demolition as well. I think they're only suffering now like 68 days off of that, so maybe, just maybe, the New Day will be keeping the belts for 2 or 3 months longer at this rate. Moving on to the second match of the night, the Cruiserweight Championship. The ropes were changed to purple, which was an interesting twist. TJ Perkins showcased what he could do, getting a submission victory over the Brian Kendrick. And yeah, I mean, the match was given time and I pretty much enjoyed it. I think this is a good direction for the Cruiserweights going forward, and expect TJ Perkins to now pick up a new rivalry starting perhaps with Raw over the next week or 2. Going on to match 3 was the best of 7 series match with Cesaro and Sheamus. It was actually quite a brutal match. It was pretty good. I quite actually enjoyed it. It surprised me. Looking at it, it was a no contest finish, which means we could potentially get a best of 77 series after all, like I joked in the previous video. Looking at it though, both men were unable to continue after a clothesline over the barricade, and they'd gone on for a good nearly 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, and the crowd was really invested in it. So no, fair play, well done, had by all. Chris Jericho picking up a victory over Sami Zayn with the code breaker. Maybe this is a one and done, but maybe not. I think it's perhaps the wrong result if it is a one and done, but Chris Jericho at the moment, he is over. Sami Zayn perhaps needs to get himself a bit more creditable on the WWE market right now. He's put in some great matches, but just that character really isn't coming over very well at the moment. WWE kind of need to work on that. Looking next, then we had one of my favourite matches of the night. In fact, perhaps my favourite match of the night was the Triple Threat Women's Championship match for the Raw Women's Championship, should I say. Charlotte beating Sasha Banks and Bayley. Charlotte getting a pin over Bayley, just as I predicted. I think this is going to go forward now for Charlotte versus Sasha Banks for the next pay-per-view, which is going to be WWE's Hell in a Cell for the Raw brand. And yeah, a good match. Do check this one out if you get the opportunity. Definitely one worth watching on the card. Roman Reigns winning the United States Championship over Rusev in a lengthy match. I think this match was too long. I couldn't fully get invested into it, but I must admit that the finish was pretty good. The last sort of 5 minutes of the match I was more invested into. It wasn't a result I would have gone for. I don't think this is a good way of building Rusev up. I mean, of course, it's a new era trying to build new stars. You're now not actually building a new star up. In fact, now he's just been fed to Roman Reigns, who now is the United States Champion. Is this going to actually help elevate the belt? Perhaps, yes. Is it going to help the mid-carders? Probably not, because they're going to be losing to Roman Reigns now going forward. But I expect the Roman Reigns-Rusev feud to continue. There are rumours that WWE are planning a match with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins together, believe it or not, against Kevin Owens and Rusev. So perhaps that could even take place on Raw this evening. The final match, which I think, they still hadn't recovered over that last match and weren't happy with the result, a lot of the fans. But we see Kevin Owens beating Seth Rollins to retain his Universal Championship. The match was a pretty good match, but I do think there was a bit of a weird spot with Chris Jericho coming in and kind of ruining the match to a degree, but I don't think the fans was invested as much as they could have been. But the match was alright on the whole. Stephanie McMahon sent another referee down after the referee had been knocked over. Chris Jericho had interfered multiple times but was not involved in the ring. Seth Rollins, distracted by this, turns around, goes into the push-up powerbomb for Kevin Owens to retain the belt. So that's the Clash of Champions show for you. I believe it's okay. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 personally, but I do think that maybe WWE could do better with Raw efforts going forward. I think No Mercy is something to look forward to with that triple threat match with AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose and John Cena on the SmackDown Live side. I think that is going to be a match of the year candidate when it comes round. Mark my words, it's going to be a good effort and triple threat match as well. Normally pretty exciting. It kind of reminds me of that feel of 2003 when we saw Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar and the Big Show in the triple threat match. Now, it doesn't sound like the best on titles, but for SmackDown, this was probably one of their best matches in the triple threat matches of pay-per-view back all that time ago, 13 years ago. I think this has got potential to be a show stealer and a match of the year candidate, so I'm looking forward to that on the SmackDown side. Look out, I'm going to give a small Raw preview for you coming up very shortly indeed. You've been watching Steve Chats Wrestling, hashtag SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.